Ready? All right, we'll call the meeting to order and Selectman Temple will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, no presentation, so we'll go right to roll call.
All right, thank you. From the city of Ansonia, is there a proxy present? Anyone from the city of Ansonia? From Beacon Falls, First Selectman Smith. Here. The town of Bethlehem, First Selectman Sorty. Yep. From Bristol, Mayor Caggiano. Here. From Cheshire. Anyone from Cheshire, from the town council, town manager. From Derby, Mayor Zekin. From Middlebury, First Selectman St. John. Here. From Naugatuck, Mayor Hess.
Here.
From Oxford, First Selectman Temple.
Here.
Plymouth, Mayor Kilduff. Here. From Prospect, Mayor Sheffield.
Here, and how many of you guys are eating donuts down there?
Well, you gotta come, Bob.
I know.
From Seymour, First Selectman Dragonis. From Shelton, we have alternate Grillo. No. From Southbury, First Selectman Manville. Okay. From Thomaston, First Selectman Moe. Here. From Waterbury. I know Mayor Larry isn't joining us, but do we have a proxy?
No, we do not.
Okay. From Watertown. Do we have anyone from the town council, town manager?
Present.
From Woolkit, Mayor Dunn.
Here.
From Woodbury, First Select Woman Perkins.
Here, Perkinson. Here.
Thank you. Okay. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I believe we have a quorum.
To vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Good to go.
Good to go.
All right, at this time, is there anyone in the room who would like to make public comment? Last call for in the room. All right, anyone on Zoom who would like to make public comment?
Mr. Chairman, we received no advanced requests for public comment on Zoom.
Richard, one on up there?
No.
All right, we'll go to item 2A, approval of resolution 2320, application to protect Rich Donovan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. Under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, one of the new discretionary funding programs is called Protect. Protect is aimed at providing funds for planning and implementation projects to improve resiliency within the transportation system, particularly against increasingly strong weather events. This program can be administered at either the local or the MPO level. And so as the CNVMPO, we would like to submit an application to do a planning study. One of the tenets of this program is that implementation projects are funded at the typical 80-20 split between federal and local. However, if a region has an approved Federal Highway Administration resilience improvement plan, that ratio changes to 90% federal, 10% local. And so we are aiming to, with this application, put together a resilience improvement plan that meets that federal highway standard. planning studies under this program are funded 100% federal. And so if awarded, this would be paid for entirely with federal funds. And so we are, with this motion, looking for endorsement from the CNVMPO board to submit that application.
So moved, Prospect.
Second. There we go.
All right, any discussion? I'll just say, could you give us some examples? This is pretty broad language.
Yeah, so what we're really looking to do here is put together a methodology for identifying resilience priorities. And so this is things like undersized bridges and culverts, anything that is subject to either failure or just doesn't quite meet the current standard for operations during especially severe weather events. And so by putting a methodology together to prioritize these and then putting a prioritized list together, we then both qualify for that additional funding under future rounds of this program, but we also have a good sense of the priorities for the region to address these problems going forward.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
Yeah, well, what municipalities are eligible to vote on it?
So it's the CNVMPO communities, it's the 15 communities that are not
Do you know
the
what they
Lower
are?
Valley. Yeah, it's probably easier to list the others. It's not Seymour, Ansonia, Derby, or Sheldon.
Oh,
You're in.
You're in.
And so just, you know, we're still working with the Greater Bridgeport and Valley MPO, of which those 4 towns are a member, and who is administered jointly by us and the Connecticut Metropolitan Council of Governments. But it sounds like they are also looking at this program and will likely be doing some kind of an application that develops a plan for those 4 towns as well.
All right, any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay,
Thank you.
item 3A, approval of minutes.
So
Any
moved, Prospect.
Second, Edmond.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Agency financial reports and summaries. Michael,
Thank you. So this is the financial report for period ending May 31st, 2023. The bottom line for the month is $263,000. That is a large part due to the adjustment that was made for Meantime Legal. We haven't had any unexpected funding cuts. But even though the board did adopt a balanced budget, I am projecting about $60,000 surplus for the year end.
okay, any questions for Michael?
Motion to approve financial statement as presented.
second.
All right, any questions, discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So ordered. Okay, approval of 2024 budget. Michael?
Thank you. Rick, is the slide up? No.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah, so this is an action based on a recommendation to adopt from the executive board of the agency.
Okay, so the executive board met and we're recommending the approval of this budget with our new manpower setup. And the executive board was unanimously in favor of it. Is there anything you want to add to that, Michael?
I mean, nothing particular. I'm happy to go through a little bit of the highlights.
Well, let's leave it up to, how detailed of a presentation do we want from Michael?
Not much.
I'll move the motion anyway.
I'll second.
And the executive committee did make that recommendation yesterday or day before to the full board today.
You're on the executive.
I am.
Yes.
And I am. George.
If you go on when I go.
Thank you.
Hey, I did too.
Wow.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman, if I will just summarize quickly. The entire board received 2 versions of a budget earlier in the year. This is version B. It's a result of the increased funding to COGS under the regional service grant, and it will implement the staffing plan that we had devised for that particular budget.
By the way, Rick, you sound much better today. I hope you're feeling
Thank you.
better.
Getting there. Thank you very much.
All right, any further questions? All those in favor? Opposed? So ordered. All right, let's go to the director's report. Legislative update, Drew.
Okay, I will be brief, but before we do get into legislative items, just a quick housekeeping note. Keep an eye out for an email from Trish from our office. You're gonna be getting renewal notices for the Capital Region Purchasing Council, of which 18 of the 19 towns are members. So that'll be coming out July 1st. So just keep an eye out for that. Legislatively, after a arguably productive long session, CCM saw 7 of its 14 major priority items pass. So kudos to Mayor Dunn. CCM Director Joe DeLong said this was the most impactful session that CCM has enjoyed with their advocacy group. I'm not sure if it's coincidence that it's Mayor Dunn's first go around, but
No.
figure it out yourself. And beyond that, I hope that the emails that we sent through the course of the session were helpful to you folks. It was a lot of monitoring and really good learning experience for me. And thank you to Jack DeOliveira from our team, who also kind of helped our whole team shepherd through that process. But that definitely interesting. There are a lot of bills that did pass. What we're doing right now internally is we're meeting with each discipline, each group, meeting with environmental, with transportation. If there are bills that are going to impact you on a municipal level, you're going to hear from our internal team, the folks that are going to help you either execute those things or understand what those deadlines are. You're going to hear from those experts individually so that you can reach back with questions to them. So right now, we're just putting those in the proper buckets and baskets. If there's any specific questions, happy to answer them. But otherwise, you've seen pretty much everything through those Friday emails. I hope some of you read them.
Drew, is Jack here with us for the summer?
He is working with us. He is going to be in and out of Connecticut. He's still got some obligations down south, so he'll be here, I believe, next week actually, and for 2 weeks. So we're looking forward to having him in person, but we connect almost daily on Teams.
All right, tell him to stop by and see. Okay,
I will. He may be listening, so.
okay, all right, good.
Just to clarify that, Mr. Chairman, Jack will be a full-time hire starting July 1st.
Okay, great. Anything else, Drew?
No, unless you have any specific questions, that's it. I know you're getting a lot of these things from cost and CCM and everything too in your email boxes, so I don't want to be redundant, but I'm happy to go through anything specific if you have questions.
At the risk of chaos, does anyone have any questions about our recent legislative session? All right, hearing none, let's go to item 4.
Nobody wants to be called chaotic.
Authorization for Executive Director Rick Dunn to execute and deliver the OPM notice of grant award for the fiscal year 24 regional services grant.
Move dead moan.
Second, Seacon.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Item 5, Mayor O'Leary can't be with us today, so we're looking to table that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Item 6, emergency management. I see we have Mr. Field with us here today, so John, why don't you bring us up to speed?
For you guys today too. So just real quick, we're supporting, I know you have some staff that have been working with DOT on their diversion planning. Just yesterday, we met in Waterbury, met all Route 8 now. So we're doing a lot of work there and trying to support that activity. We're still continuing with the cybersecurity assessments. If you haven't had one or had the opportunity to have one and you want one, just let me know. National Guard's helping us do that. Some grant deadlines are coming up. You guys have been notified of VMPG grants, and then we're doing some different stuff, allocation-based spending through the Homeland Security Grant Program this time around, a little bit different than how we've done it in the past. So we're meeting with all our ESF chairs next week to do that. Got a radio test coming up, and then school safety and security, we're collecting all drill logs because they're due July 1st. So in the school year coming, they're actually passing those in, and we're continuing to help the schools with security assessment. So if there's any questions, that's all I have.
Yeah, but cybersecurity, I mean, we go through our insurance companies and all, our cybersecurity,
Yep.
so what's this above and beyond or something?
No, you know, it's more, it was originally based on voter stuff. So, but they're coming in and actually doing an entire assessment if you want it. I mean, I don't think they get into the detail that probably your insurance company gets into, but National Guard are coming in. It's available. If you want it, it's great. If you don't, you understand. I think there was one town, I think Mr. St. John, I think you're the only town that there was no answer from the cybersecurity. Did you talk to me about that?
No.
The cybersecurity assessment. I think every other town has answered, but I didn't hear anything from you, Ed, so.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
All
I'll do a follow-up on that, John.
Yeah, I can talk to you.
It's usually, must be the only thing we don't follow up with, you know?
Thanks. So, that's all I
I
have.
feel like I'm the whipping boy lately.
Guy you down, I'm gonna keep you down.
Thank you,
Thank you,
John.
guys. Thanks.
For security.
All right,
Better plan
13
government.
update. Do we have anyone for that?
Joanna's online.
Joanna?
Yeah, hi. Just want to give you the Community Emergency Response Team. There is going to be a Capital Region Field Day and Olympics for the CERT teams. It's going to be on July 15th, beginning at 8 a.m. at Wesleyan University. So hopefully your teams can attend. That's all I've got today.
All right, thank you, Joanna. We'll move to item 7A. Welcome Cole Burnham, Sustainable Connecticut Fellow. Christine, are you gonna take over here?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you know, I've been talking him up for several months now. Our Sustainable CT Fellow is finally here. His name is Cole. He comes from Westport. He is a rising graduate at Tufts, where he'll be studying in the same planning program that our own Savannah Nicole graduated from. And he's available to help you obtain certification for Sustainable CT, to recertify, or even to work on sustainability projects that are not related to Sustainable CT. So I'll just turn it over to Cole quickly to introduce himself.
Thank you. Said it amazing yourself. Yeah, I'm here. I'm Cole from Westport, currently in Fairfield, but I'm happy to help your towns with sustainable CTs, or any other sustainable projects you may have. Here's a resource. I've sent out emails, I think last week, to most, if not all of your towns. If you need me to send another email, feel free to reach out to NVCOG, and I'll send another one to get in touch. But once again, happy to help with whatever you need. I'm here until mid-August to help with anything sustainability wise. So let me know.
Well, welcome aboard, Cole, and we'll be reaching out to you. Any questions for Cole? Okay, let's go to climate pollution reduction grants. Christine.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So these ones are a little complicated. You'll find a memo and a map in your packets that explain these climate pollution reduction grants. It's a $5 billion program from the EPA. Phase 1 provides states and metropolitan statistical areas, or MSAs, which you're quite familiar with from the transportation work we do. Provides them with funds to study and develop a plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. But because the allocation of these funds is based on MSAs, NVCOG towns are a little bit awkwardly split up among the 4 Connecticut grantees. So you have that very confusing map up there. But over the past several weeks, NVCOG has been supporting the other 4 COGs who are working on this as they develop their MSA-based work plans. And over the next few years, each MSA is going to develop a priority climate action plan, a greenhouse gas inventory, and then a comprehensive climate action plan. But all this paperwork is going to have its payoff in 2024, when the remaining $4.6 billion are released in the form of competitive grants for implementation. So Mark Nielsen is also working on this project with me. We're staying in touch with the other COGs. And we hope that all this planning will pay off when down the line we'll get some money for implementation, which is probably going to have a lot to do with transportation, we imagine, but we'll see how it goes. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, questions for Christine? Okay. Let's go to 7C, COG Resolution 2323. Endorsement of NVCOG application to Safe Streets for All Grant Program. Rich Donovan.
Yes, thank you. So as you all may remember, back in September, we went through the adoption of some material in preparation for that last round of the Safe Streets for All program. We had applied for an implementation grant in that round, and unfortunately, we did not receive that award. So in the time between then and now, we have met with the U.S. Department of Transportation about that application and why it was not funded. And the biggest concern we received was that our implementation projects did not directly correlate to a prioritized list based on data in the region. And so in this round, based on that feedback and based on some review internally and with the Connecticut Department of Transportation, we've decided to go forward with a planning grant to put together a prioritized list of projects, safety-based projects based on crash data here in the region. And so we will be putting in for just about $400,000 in planning in this round, which will put together for us a Vision Zero action plan, which will set us up in future rounds to apply again for implementation more in line with the program's requirements.
So are you looking for projects from our members?
We will be, yes. So
Okay.
if this program is awarded, we will be looking for as many projects from all of our towns as we can come up with that we can then put in and prioritize and have a final action plan that we can use in future rounds for implementation funding.
So you get the money, we'll give you the projects.
That's the goal.
Plenty of it.
That's absolutely the goal, right? We want to put together a very comprehensive plan. As you all may remember, we did an update to the regional safety action plan that we adopted back in September. However, this looks to take and expand on that, again, with really a very clear, straightforward, prioritized list of every safety related project we have here in the region.
Okay, questions for Rich?
No, I'm just gonna move to adopt NVCOG Resolution 2023 regarding the Safe Streets Grant application.
Second. All right, any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, here we go. Item D. COG Resolution 23-24, endorsement of NVCOG application to Reconnecting Communities Pilot Program, Neighborhood Equity and Access Program. Rich.
Yeah, so this one, again, we back in September discussed the Reconnecting Communities Pilot Program. In the time since that program was authorized under IJA for $1 billion in total funding over the course of 5 years. In the time since, the Inflation Reduction Act included the Neighborhood Equity and Access Program, which offers fundamentally the same implementation, but includes $3 billion over an additional 5-year period. And so we received notice earlier this week that these two programs would be funded under a single notice of funding opportunity. And so we would like to take our application that we submitted last year, again, unfortunately not awarded, but we had intended to do a study along the entire length of Route 8 from Bridgeport up through Winsted or Winchester in partnership with Connecticut Metro COG and the Northwest Hills COG. In our follow-up with the USDOT on why that award was not granted, again, we got some valuable feedback. We perhaps were a little over zealous with our attempt to cover the entire length, and they wanted to see a bit more detail about what we were looking to do. So we've refined the program, or we've refined our application, and in this round would like to submit to do a planning study along Route 8. Again, we're looking at most of the length of it. We have not yet decided if we would like to partner again with our surrounding COGs. But the goal of this study would be to identify mitigation strategies for ways that Route 8 has divided our communities up and down the Naugatuck Valley. And so this will look at things like safety and access underneath the highway or over the highway in some cases. It'll look at the installation of public arts and additional lighting and ways to make those spaces feel safer and more comfortable. We may look at potentially either realigning or adjusting the location of entrance and exit ramps in ways that make the sidewalk network difficult to navigate. And we'll really focus in on some of the areas that have been most impacted rather than just a broad study along the entire route. And so.
Just to clarify, it's my understanding that communities doesn't mean town to town. So for example, in Naugatuck, we could connect the east side to the west side all in one town. I don't have to make a deal with Middlebury, Beacon Falls, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, no, it's the program's really intended to look at the ways that individual pieces of transportation infrastructure like Route 8 have divided our neighborhoods from each other. And so, exactly right. A connection from the east side to the west side of Naugatuck is exactly what we'd like to look at.
Good. All right, questions for Rich? Ed?
Motion to adopt. Resolution 23-24 regarding the application to reconnect community pilot.
Second.
Second from Wolcott. Questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, environmental planning, MSW and recycling update. Christine.
Everybody's favorite part. So if you could go back just for a second, Rich. So the first thing I want to mention is our household hazardous waste event. It's upon us yet again, Saturday, July 22nd from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. This time our wonderful town of Oxford will be hosting us at the Quaker Farm School. And within the next few weeks, you should be receiving flyers and more information about that. But next, if we could jump to some data, I'm sure everyone is eager to see how the pilots are going. So there's a lot of things going on here. I'll first just welcome Middlebury into our team. They've signed their contract, just waiting on DEEP's execution. Their program is planned to launch July 1st, in which they will pilot elements of organics diversion and unit-based pricing among 1,500 households that use the transfer station. So we'll be seeing Middlebury up there soon. For now, you can see our latest numbers, and Sonia has diverted over 200,000 pounds of food scraps with this program, which is really outstanding. Seymour is the youngest of our program, so it's just starting to get some data in. I do want to draw attention to Woodbury's contamination rate, which is a staggering 2%. That means that they really understand what does and doesn't go in the green bag, and they're keeping it nice and clean, which means it's more valuable and they'll have to pay less money for it. So far, really, really impressive data. We're seeing that transfer station programs tend to have stronger results than curbside pickup, which is why we are so hopeful and excited for Middlebury. On the next slide, it's just a little bit of a more granular look at the data for Ansonia, just showing over the first 21 weeks. That dark blue line there shows the 2022 numbers, and the light blue is the, I apologize. The light blue is the 2022 numbers, and the dark blue is the 23 numbers. You can see that as the program goes on, the amount of trash is decreasing, and it's a 16% decrease in overall tonnage. And it just shows a steady buildup as more and more people are understanding the program, getting on board with it. And then finally, just wanted to make a quick note, if you could go to the next slide, about the overall impact of these pilots. So across the 9 programs that are being run so far, recycling has increased on average by 31%. We're sending a lot less trash to the incinerator or landfill, which is enormous, 16%. Think about how much savings that means in terms of your budgets. We're capturing about 1 out of every 4 pounds of available food scraps. And then we have this fabulous staggering number of 800,000 pounds of food scraps that have been collected. So really, really positive, very exciting. And just wanted to let you know how well it's going. Happy to take any questions.
All right, questions for Christine? Pretty mellow group today.
Good news.
Okay, so let's go to a brownfields update from Ricardo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as always, brownfield project status is attached to your packet. Read it at your pleasure. and get back to me with any questions on those. But also wanted to let you guys know that EPA recently awarded the NVCOG supplemental RLF funding in the amount of $3 million. This funding is going to be used for cleanup activities throughout our region. So staff will be releasing a solicitation late summer, and we will be trying to hold a RLF committee board meeting sometime in September to select those projects and then start them as of October 1st, the start date of the actual award itself. Also wanted to mention that DECD is anticipated to open up their next brownfield funding round this summer as well. So if you have any projects you're considering seeking funding for, please reach out to Stephen or myself so we can start the project of seeking eligibility and collecting all the data for those projects. So that way, when they actually open it up, we'll be able to have a bigger start time than others. And finally, wanted to make everyone aware that NVCOG staff has been asked by EPA headquarters and Region 1 to present at this year's National Brownfields Conference. So we'll be discussing about basically talking about our RLF program and how it's so successful when compared nationwide. So
Where's the conference?
Detroit.
Detroit? Okay. Any questions for Ricardo?
Yeah.
Careful in Detroit.
Congratulations to our team.
Yes. Okay, open space and watershed land acquisition grant program and urban green and community garden grant program. Aaron.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let you all know about the two grant opportunities. The Deep Open Space and Watershed Acquisition Program is for the purchase and conservation of open space or drinking water watershed land. There's a variable match requirement depending on the situation, but it's typically about 25 or 35% local match. The Urban Green and Community Gardens Grant Program is for urban park or community garden development or improvement in distressed or targeted investment communities. And there's a 50% match for that. For both of those programs, there's an October 2nd deadline. We shared a memo last month, and we've also included it in the packet. And you can reach out to us for assistance or for questions or anything. We're co-hosting a workshop in this room next Thursday, June 22nd from 6 to 7:30 with the Connecticut Land Conservation Council to talk about really everything about this program for prospective applicants. And it's not on the agenda, but I just wanted to mention while we're talking about grants that with your permission, Mr. Chairman, that NVCOG has been awarded a DEP Climate Resilience Fund grant for just under $700,000 to advance 9 flood resilience projects that have been identified across the region. These are in Ansonia, Middlebury, Naugatuck, Oxford, Seymour, Shelton, Thomaston, Waterbury, and Woolgate. And what this funding will fund is preliminary engineering and development of concept plans for these projects, and then also estimate design and construction costs and identify funding sources to fund implementation and to assist the towns with applications for that funding. So we'll share more information as we have it. We're going to start the contracting process with DEEP as soon as possible.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, in addition to the direct grant to NVCOG for the region, there were 2 direct grants made under the same program to the city of Waterbury and the city of Bristol. I just want to make sure we mention those.
Thank you. Any questions for Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron, are all of the towns in COG eligible for the community gardens grant?
They're not. So it's just those that are identified as distressed or targeted investment communities.
And that should be listed in the memo.
Yes,
Which
I
ones
believe
are?
it is.
You're probably not distressed.
So it's Ansonia, Bristol, Derby, Thomaston, and Waterbury are eligible for that.
We're gonna put a community garden in your backyard.
It's gonna be up by the pool.
I can tell by their merit. Absolutely.
All right, any questions for Aaron on this? All right, let's go to the Kinneytown Dam update.
So it's been a few months since we last gave a Kinneytown update, and action on the project is really ramping up. The NOAA funding is in place, and we started the contracting process for the funds that the state have pledged to the project. The Connecticut Brownfield Land Bank has an agreement in principle with the current dam owner for the acquisition of the project following a due diligence period, and we're working through that right now. EPA is currently working on a targeted brownfield assessment as part of that due diligence. Phase 1 report's been issued, and EPA's contractor is going to be mobilizing for phase 2 field work in the next couple months. We're working to finalize a subaward agreement with Save the Sound, who's going to oversee the dam removal design. And staff is working with the town of Seymour to prepare the relocation of sewer infrastructure that's going to have to happen in conjunction with the dam removal. So NOAA's provided funding for the engineering of that, and NVCOG is going to oversee that design work. We're working through the procurement process right now to hire an engineering consultant. Public outreach efforts are going to be ramping up over the early part of the summer, and we'll be working to update information in the story map and on our website soon. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Just incredibly impressive work. But give us a projected date of when the dam is actually going to come down after the planning and everything else.
So right now, our funding is for 3 years, but we can extend that for another 2 years. Our original submission to NOAA had basically 1.5 years or 2 years of design, followed by construction in year 3. So we're still working under that timeline, but you know, there's a lot of complexity to this project. So, you know,
So 2027, 28, something like that.
I think that's a good guess. Yeah.
That's good.
Hopefully sooner than that, but
Sooner, okay,
Yeah.
great. All right, questions for Aaron?
We're not promising sooner than that.
no.
No, don't, Rick, please.
Instead
No,
hopeful.
no. And with your permission, Mr. Chairman, for all of our federal partners who are on the call, we're going to need more money for this, so we really need to pay attention. I'll just update one other thing. We had previously told you that we entered into an agreement in principle for the land bank, the Connecticut Brownfield Land Bank, to acquire the facility, and there was an anticipated closing of July. Obviously, we're not going to close in July. Due diligence is still ongoing. EPA won't be out in the field for us until August. So it'll likely be after August before there's a closing on the property. And that's pursuant to permission from the FERC as well, who controls the site.
All right, thank you, Rick. Anything else on Kinneytown? All right, let's go to other. Is there any community that would like to bring anything up at this time?
We had
Fourth of July.
we had the discussion at the executive board meeting about this whole issue with this implementing bill of as part of the budget process, which singled out communities 8,000 and under for restrictions on the building and operating of distribution centers and warehousing and that. So where that's all going on our end, stay tuned.
Okay, we're all aware of that. Anyone want to comment on that?
I think that one thing that you all need to remember is this has never been a part of the state budget process where home rule has been trampled on using this process. I think this particular thing is just the beginning of what's to come. So just hold on, folks, because there will be more coming, I'm sure, in time.
Yeah, I just think, we do gotta watch that, and especially in the budget process, because there are a lot of good things for
Well, we
all
should
of the towns and
also,
good organizations against, like.
we should also,
Is PCM gonna evaluate that issue?
Yeah, we had to look at it because, but again, when you got, at the end of the day, this was put in the last minute.
But we had so many good things in there. And it came in quick, not understanding why or how, so it was.
There's 11 communities
Too much,
that fall
too many good
under
things
this,
that-
okay, it was very selective. And we know exactly where it was aimed. But the thing that I have to say to you folks is I've been around a long time. Our communities are very capable of dealing with planning and zoning and other issues, and so I just want to caution you that this is but the tip of the iceberg, and we as a group should do everything in our power to get this removed from the state. From any kind of a law. We should not allow this to stand. This is a home rule issue for all communities. You may be out of this particular mess, but I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna find yourself in another one.
Yeah, it's an issue for us, an issue for CCM, and it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
It's home
Yeah,
rule.
how we do that is gonna be pretty important. I mean, the difficult part, because it's been happening for years where they stick these implementers in, but next year it could be
Not on zoning.
30 other towns that are getting affected by something that all of a sudden, or even one other town, and it's.
But not on zoning issues.
No,
Not on land use.
I think everybody agrees.
As far as I know, this.
I think everybody agrees with you.
All right, are there any other issues that anyone would like to bring up at this time? On Zoom or otherwise? Hearing none, we'll go to item 10, Mr. Moon.
So move, John.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? So ordered.
Mr. Chairman, before you, I know you've adjourned, but before you go, as it said, the next meeting is scheduled for July 21st. Typically, we don't have a meeting in August. There's none scheduled. We've previously very often canceled the July meeting. So we'll probably survey the members after the staff looks at how much of an agenda we have, but it is possible we may not meet until September again. So the executive board will meet.
Now.
All right, thank you, Rick.
I only have one question, Rick. When do we have a party?
Yeah, what's the
party?
When's the picnic? Everybody over at Rick's house.
You missed the holiday,
Everybody
spring,
is.
and now we're missing summer.
Every time we get ready to do something, somebody's not feeling.
We're adjourned. Yeah, we're adjourned.
Oh, yeah.
Finish.
Finish. No, just one.